If you've been researching air fryers, you probably know a few things by now, including the fact that they cook using an overhead heating element and a powerful fan. And you also need to shake the drawer to get an even cook. But what if I told you there was an air fryer where no shaking is required because it has not one, but two heating elements, one above and one below? In this video, I test out the Cosori Dual Blaze to find out if it really does cook differently or whether that bottom heating element is a little bit of a gimmick. So hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Clara, and on this channel I help you choose and use your UK home appliances. If you're looking for particular information on this Dual Blaze air fryer, feel free to jump around. The timings of the different sections are on the screen and in the description. So the Dual Blaze isn't new, and this has some relevance that you'll discover in a bit. It's a single drawer 6.4 litre smart air fryer, so it works with an app. But if that doesn't appeal to you, you can also use it without ever having to connect it to Wi-Fi, just like a standard air fryer. If you want to use it as a smart air fryer, when you first get it, you'll need to download the V-Sync app. Choose Add a Device and then press and hold the power button on your air fryer so it can connect to your phone. Then in the app you can choose from a range of recipes and set the air fryer up with the correct time and temperature direct from your phone. You can then keep an eye on the progress of your cooking in the app whilst you're off doing something else somewhere else in the house. Now, I've mentioned before that all the air fryers that I test in my home end up with nicknames, mostly thanks to my kids. And this one became known as the Minecraft air fryer because it is so square and boxy. I personally quite like its minimal appearance, but it does look a little bit like a letterbox, and I realise that won't appeal to everyone. The air inlet on this model is on the top at the rear and the outlet is on the back. There's also additional vents on the bottom of this air fryer because of that lower heating element. So the standard advice applies about pulling it out from the wall when you're cooking. The crisper plate on this has a slightly unusual design, which I think makes it look like it's permanently smiling at you. However, those big eyes can be a little bit of a pain, as even quite large things like prawns can slip through the hole while you're cooking, and then you find yourself having to lift a hot crisper plate to try and retrieve them. The Dual Blaze has 12 cooking functions. The 6 on the left of the display are for different types of food. The 6 on the right are for different cooking settings. So starting on the right, the cooking settings use the top and bottom heating elements in slightly different ways. So you have air fry, which is full power on top and on bottom. Then reheat, which is full power on top with low heat below. Roast, which is medium power on top and full power on the bottom. Keep warm, which is medium heat above and below. Bake, which is low power on top and full power on the bottom. And broil, which is full power on the top and no heat below. And this setting is particularly recommended when cooking oily food to reduce smoke. Now on the left-hand side, you've got those food-specific presets, which are for particular types of food. So you have chicken, steak, seafood, veggies, fries, and frozen. I did some research, but I couldn't find out which heating elements those food-specific presets use. So if you want more control over where your heat is coming from, you're probably better sticking with the cooking settings on the right. You may notice that there's no dehydrate setting on the Dual Blaze, and that's because the lowest temperature on this model is 80 Celsius, and its maximum, by the way, is 205. You can alter the time and temperature while the program is running, and there's a separate button for turning on and off and for starting the cooking program. The basket and crisper plates are both non-stick and dishwasher safe, and as you would expect, cooking pauses automatically when you pull the drawer out and resumes when you put it back in. Now obviously the thing I was most interested in finding out was whether that lower heating element actually makes any real difference in a real kitchen scenario when you're cooking. given that the heat it produces can't really circulate because it's trapped by the drawer. So as well as cooking a variety of regular meals in it over the last couple of weeks, I also did 3 side-by-side tests with the Dual Blaze next to my Cosori Dual Basket. The first test I did was chocolate cake. I made a batch of batter and then divided it exactly in half in 2 identical tins and cooked both cakes at 160 for 25 minutes on bake. These are the 2 finished cakes and they are pretty much identical. You have the Dual Basket on the left and the Dual Blaze on the right. There's no difference in the rise or in fact in the speed that they cooked. Next, I wanted to try pastry to see if the bottom heating element made a noticeable difference to the bottom of a quiche. So I made 2 identical spinach, feta and tomato tarts. These little tins were my mum's discovery, by the way, and they fit in most air fryers, including Dual Basket ones, and they are perfect for 2 people. Both quiches were cooked at 160 Celsius for 25 minutes, the same as the cakes. And this is what the bottom of those quiches looked like after cooking. Dual Blaze first, and then Dual Draw second. Now, admittedly, they probably could have done with slightly longer cooking, but the important part is the bottoms are just the same. The bottom heating element hasn't made any difference to how well cooked the pastry is. And the final test was homemade fries. The Dual Blaze sells itself on being a no-shake air fryer. So I wanted to test that out. 2 batches of chips I did, one in the Dual Blaze, one in the Dual Basket. I soaked them in cold water for 15 minutes to remove the starch, and then I cooked them on the fry setting in the Dual Blaze at 195 and 195 and roast in the Dual Basket. First 5 minutes with no oil, just to dry them out. Then I added oil, and then in the last 5 minutes I cranked up the temperature to 205 on both the air fryers. The Dual Draw got a couple of shakes, the Dual Blaze did not, and here are the results. And it's really interesting to see that there's a noticeable difference with the Dual Blaze, and the chips are definitely browner on the bottom despite the lack of shaking. So here's what I think. Clearly the Dual Blaze performs better with no shaking than other air fryers. So if you want a model where you can just stick the food in, control the cooking on an app and walk away without having to change the temperature on the machine or shake the basket, then this is the air fryer for you. But it's important to say it's also not a miracle worker, and the difference with most dishes was barely noticeable. So if you're looking at this as an upgrade, it probably isn't worth actually trading in your air fryer to get one with 2 heating elements over one with 1. As ever, if this video was helpful, a like is always appreciated. And if you'd like to see more videos about UK home appliances, I publish weekly. So hit the subscribe and the notifications button to see more.